Not sure if I'm live. If I am, please type in the. Oh, it looks like I am live. Indeed. One second. I have to make sure that the audio is doing all right. Okay. Yeah. So I am live. Yeah. Thank you that you like my content. I'm live. There are a few problems with the audio, as you could tell. Apparently the microphone is capturing every voice that's in the room, and I couldn't fix it, unfortunately. So if you know how to fix it, I'm using the OBS program. You could message me on Telegram or some other platform, and for the next stream I'll try to fix it. Now that's going to be my first stream ever. I haven't ever done a stream before in my entire life. I did speak to a live audience, but oh yeah, well that's the point. I mean, I'll try to decrease the volume a bit, but yeah, I don't exactly know how to fix it. Yeah, anyways, so it's going to be my first live, how to say, not a live procedure, but a live, a translation, yeah, a live translation, a live reaction, and live review of the. I'm not too close to the mic, by the way, like, it is about 40 centimeters, even 50 centimeters. I'll remove him even further, but okay, that's much better. Nice. Yeah. Anyways, so today we will be reviewing ContraPoints' new video, The Hunger. Now, before I will talk to you about the premise of the video, I have to I'll just schedule, like, let you know how the stream would go. And probably, before I watch the video, I'll be reviewing. Like, if you have any questions, I'll probably, I'll address some of them, and then I will start the video, and probably in the middle of it, I'll look at the questions. So I'll be looking at the questions and your comments, and then I'll be observing the video again. So that's you got the OBS symbol with text over the stream. Well, that's not very nice. Yeah. Do you know how to get rid of it? Damn, I have no idea. It probably isn't a very good look. I could imagine. How do I get rid of this thing? Okay, what's this? Yeah, how do I get rid of it? Здравствуйте, everyone. Yeah, look, I have no idea how to get rid of it. Can you move it? I don't think so. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, that's much better. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we could have, like, what is even going on? Okay, how does it look now? Yeah, there's like a very big delay. It sounds like ear rape. Yeah, I know. The microphone is very loud, and unfortunately I couldn't fix it. Yeah, I guess when the video will be released, and then other people would check out my channel, the first 10 minutes they'll be watching how I can't even properly figure out how to fix my setup. Still on. Damn. Okay. Let's try. Yeah, I have no idea how to change that. How the prompt on the source tab it's listed as browser. The cope stream. Um, um, okay. Don't think I just. I think I might have fucked up the. Okay. The tab is on the bottom left. The bottom left. Where exactly is it in the program here, or in the what's it called in Google Chrome? Oh, okay, okay. It looks like I might have fixed it. Still good for first time. Yeah, yeah. I wish I could do it better. So when the video will be released, I'll just tell everyone to skip to the actual when the actual content actually begins. Anyways, I think we should be good now. Hold on a second. Yeah, everything is fine, and the audio is fine as well. And perhaps we could start consuming. Oh, no. First, I was cut off. I was going to say how the schedule would go, and it would basically go. So first, I'll guess I'll explain the theme, and then I'll start watching it. Switch from top chat to live chat. This chat you're talking about. Okay. Yeah, I'll close that one then. Okay. Still, yeah. So do you have like any questions? If not, then I guess I'll proceed to the main meat of the video. Yeah. So meanwhile, while you're thinking what question you're going to ask me, I guess I wasn't really preparing, but the best thing I could find is play this. It's uncopyrighted, so it's not copyrighted, and looks like I can play it. So message retracted. Okay. Yeah. So we're going to consume. Do you think ContraPoints is a groomer? No, I don't think so. Well, I mean, depends what you're talking about. What is a groomer? Like many people are talking about that. If you advocate for like pro LGBTQ ideology, you're basically a groomer already. So I mean, if you're one of these people, then perhaps she is a groomer. But I'm not sure that constitutes grooming, and in fact, as you later know in this video, she's actually critical of the trans ideology. So yeah. Anyways, the based music is now over. Any videos in the pipeline? Oh yeah, there are quite a few. There is one response to Keith Woods. I'm almost done with the script. And the next video will be about what's like an ideal free speech society would look like on the internet platform. I've recorded it. I've started editing it. I have the script. And then there's also a review of Ben Shapiro's book. So, who's the worst bread tuber? Oh, well, who's the worst bread tuber? That's a good question. Wait, 1 second. Can you still hear me, or you lost me? Because I'm seeing that somebody lost me in the chat. I don't know. Well, let's just see if there will be any more messages like that. It says everything is fine, except Alexander Hall was bread tuber. Well, it depends what you define as a worst bread tuber. Alexander Hall, this guy is clearly an idiot, and I mean I would prefer bread tubers to be just like him. So I'm not sure he's the worst bread tuber. Like he's the worst bread tuber maybe for BreadTube and maybe even not Hunter Avalon, but from our point of view, that's what BreadTube should be all about. It should be occupied by people like Xander Hall, by people like Hassan Piker, Hunter Avalon, like these people. If BreadTube was made out of these people, not people who are more sophisticated, would like the flip would never have happened. So, but like in reality, I think certainly the most annoying one, I think it might be Vosh or Philosophy Tube. And I'm not even sure if you could define ContraPoints as to be a part of BreadTube anymore. Perhaps she's on the, let's say, queer side of BreadTube, but BreadTube in and of itself, I don't think she's a part of it. Anyways, so I can be answering like a lot of questions. So people are here to see the review of the video. That they're not here for like a regular chit chat that I could probably make like next week if I want to. So I'll have to. I'm going to start consuming. Let's start consuming. Let's see. So I mean, the first thing we see is that the crosses are. They look like a rainbow, and they're made out of a very strange substance that typically crosses aren't made out of. We could see she's referencing a Bible quote in which the context is arguing that I think it's Absalom. He's asking God for guidance, and all of this video, it will be about guidance and a lack of self-control and a need for some higher purpose. So that's what this video is going to be about in relation to like queerness, basically. So they're coming from this perspective. Anyway, so let's see. Temptation warning, addiction, sexual brokenness, and gender confusion. And yes, so you'll have a trigger warning. So you will see a transgender woman in this video. So I'm giving you trigger warning ahead of time, so that some people. They have decided that they're not even going to watch this live stream because ContraPoints is going to be there. So, a trigger warning ahead. So, if you don't want, you don't necessarily have to watch it. But I mean, at least you could hear me.
program is a work of fiction.
Viewer discretion is
artistic,
advised.
and harm reduction purposes, in compliance with the Video Corp terms of service. I love Video Corp. I love the rules. Any resemblance to actual persons is a super crazy coincidence.
By the way, how is the audio? Is the audio alright? Yeah, just tell me how the audio is, because like if we go further like that and you know, it then turns out that you can't even hear the audio properly, it's not going to be a very good look. So yeah, just tell me how's the audio. Damn, like the the latency is like 10 seconds. That's crazy. So I have to wait like 10 seconds. Yeah, so please write in the chat. Okay, so the audio is okay. Terrible. Have you all seen this yet? Well, I have seen like 65% of it. So you know, it's enough to conclude that ContraPoints is espousing based right-wing talking points now. So it's pretty enough and conclusive for me. It is a bit too low. Okay. Okay. I'll then fix it. There you go. Yeah, should be fine now.
May the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ be with you. T.S. Natalie Wynn.
T.S. Natalie Wynn looks like T.S. stands for transsexual Natalie Wynn, so that's an interesting joke right there.
War. What is it good for? Absolutely God, Sam, everything. According to the National Institute for Strategic American Liberty Heritage Enterprise Prosperity Commerce Policy Research. Hi, I'm Jackie Jackson. You're listening to the Freedom Pod, where it doesn't matter what you say, it only matters that you say. We don't discriminate here between what is true or false or even downright dangerous. That's none of my business. It's none of America's business. The important thing is that you never stop talking. Because that's what freedom is all about. Tonight.
Yeah, so we see already there's a critique of free speech. I sense a little critique of free speech. You know, she does come off as lefty time to time, but for the most part, the message is extremely right-wing and anti-trans as well, and yeah, you'll see why later. It's quite a story. It is quite a story.
Drugs. How do we get these?
Yeah. So here's the premise. So that's basically, from what I understand, like a libertarian neutral host. And that's like a straw man of like a Christian self-hating queer from the 1980s, like totally crazy. And that's basically like a leftoid, like a very sarcastic leftoid. I think it is a reflection of ContraPoints, unless all of them are a reflection of ContraPoints. But I think this is the most closest reflection of ContraPoints and her current, let's say, inner self. And as we will see later in the video, it's going to be a very autobiographical reflection.
Goddamn junkies off the streets.
Yeah. So that's like Blair White or something, I think. And that's like Milo Yiannopoulos. Looks like Milo Yiannopoulos.
Tableau,
yeah.
Leftist influencer and author of such books.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Yeah, well, I mean, here we see like a small critique of leftism, of current cultural, woke capital. So we see an understanding that leftists are capitalistic. So
how to capitalize on communism.
That's good self-awareness right there.
My second guest is Virginia Lamb.
Virginia Lamb.
Pastor at Hope Truth Ministries. Virginia, let's begin with you. Every day in Biden's America, Muslim cartels are driving Mexican dump trucks full of Chinese fentavoid across the Rio Grande.
Yeah.
And they're getting our children
And I mean, it looks like, again, ContraPoints misread the hegemonic assumptions of our popular culture. And I think she's the reflection of the hegemonic assumptions of our popular culture, because she's like supposedly a liberal. Here's like an American hat that symbolizes Statue of Liberty, happy hour. Yeah, I mean, every symbolism is suggesting that this is the average American, despite her being a libertarian. And you know, I mean, of course, you get this misreading that average Americans are, you know, that's what they're thinking about, like you know, crazy Mexican cartels like murdering people. That's not what average Americans think, but I mean, that's ContraPoints.
Even the Canadians,
Yeah.
with their pronouns and their genders. How have we reached this point? 2 words, Jackie. Sexual anarchy.
Yeah.
Let that sink in. Let what sink in? Sexual anarchy? What does that even
Yeah,
mean?
so I guess that's like Camila Pagilia's
The radical left and the corporate
parody.
media, they're replacing the nuclear family with aimless fornication. They're tearing apart the social fabric, and normal Americans are being silenced. That's why we're seeing all this woke, cancel culture, PC, CRT, SJW, Global Homo,
Pomo Nomo. Yeah, well, I mean, basically, ContraPoints is, I mean, she's well aware of what their tendencies on the mainstream right. I think that's like an accurate, sarcastic reproduction of what the mainstream right is concerned about to some extent, except for the fact that they aren't very Christian, and like this person is taking like from the 1980s. Nobody's talking like that. But aside from that's an accurate representation of the right critique.
So many attacks today on the
It's not necessarily that I'll make this critique, but it's a very famous one.
Virginia, I appreciate your pious gibberish, but could you be a little more specific? Of course, Jackie. Religious liberties are under attack. We're losing our right to teach biblical morality to children who are growing up in public schools run by social engineers who laugh at God and would rather have gender-neutral bathrooms and drag queen story hour than teach young people about the wonder-working power of the precious blood of the Lamb. Yes, we do still have a constitution in this country. I'm sorry that you feel offended by it. Believe it or not, the founding fathers actually wanted to protect us from whatever twisted necromancy these people think is Christianity. Jackie, these communists are...
Yeah, and the founding fathers also had done everything to protect America from racial miscegenation, but let's not talk about it.
The innocence of children. And if you speak out against the grooming, they call you a bigot. Parents get no say anymore. They're being vilified just for having legitimate concerns about the deviant lifestyles promoted in schools. You know, one day your kids will come home and you won't even recognize them anymore. That's the real agenda here. Sexual indoctrination. This generation that's coming up, 20% identify as LGBT.
True.
40% are attempting suicide. And the remaining 70% are being delivered directly into the hands of pornographers, satanic cultists, or worse.
Yeah, now we have QAnon
No,
stuff.
I won't stand for that. I'm sorry, what does this have to do with drugs? About everything. Addiction and sexual brokenness? These are 2 heads of the same serpent, symptoms of the same cultural leprosy. Single mothers, weak, emasculated fathers, childhood sexual abuse. Is anyone going to ask me what I think? Why was I invited onto this podcast to sit here and listen to the ramblings of a bigoted hate preacher? Well, God has nothing to do with hate. Christ is the definition of love. Well, I'm not talking about Christ, Virginia. I'm talking about you. Justine, if she doesn't hate anyone, then how can she be a bigot? You liberals call everyone who disagrees with you a bigot. Exactly. Why can't you just leave your emotions out of it for once and have a calm, rational conversation with people who have different opinions? Okay, well, let's see how that goes. Jackie, regular Americans like me are just trying to set people free from sexual brokenness and protect the rights of children. Kids who are struggling with gender confusion should have the right to access reparative therapy that will make them whole again. Reparative therapy? You mean handing gay children over to exorcists for years of torture? What a terrible wound of self-disgust to inflict on young people, telling them they're broken and polluted and they need God to make them whole. You people are selling the cure to a sickness you created. Are you cancel culturing me right now? Oh my god, she's totally cancel culturing me.
Yeah, and I mean, here's another sarcastic attack. She's trying to make it seem that right-wingers are freaking out at every slight critique and say that, oh no, somebody's cancel culturing me.
Right now, are you thought policing me? No. I'm trying to stop you from thought policing everyone else. You're saying it should be a thought crime? You're saying that I'm a thought criminal? Just because I happen to believe in the traditional biblical definition of marriage between a man and a woman who form a covenant before God, who gave his only begotten Son to wash away the sins of the world when he died on the cross and was resurrected 3 days later, all glory to his name. Jackie, these are the silencing tactics of the radical left. And I'm sure the blue check Twitter mob is already coming for me because you can't say anything anymore. And Christians like me, our voices are being silenced. You know who's really being silenced? People who are silent.
Yeah, I mean that's the funniest part, and probably the part where I got triggered the most. I'll let her play her crap before commenting.
Being silent is a big part of being silenced. That's what being silenced means. So who's really being silenced? Not people on podcasts. Not rich morons screaming into the biggest megaphone in world history about how silenced they are. No, the people who are silenced are people we never hear from.
Exactly.
And I really can't emphasize this enough.
Exactly. And then she falls into the classic leftist trope. Look.
They are silenced. People in prison. Queer teenagers
There
in
you
conservative
go.
towns.
There
The
you
actual
go.
downtrodden and oppressed people of this country. Not you, Miss America. Not you, Mother Superior. You're not silenced. You just
Yeah.
know that what you're saying is indefensible.
Yeah, so I'll just have to address it because it's so ridiculous on so many levels. You're probably LOLing in the chat right now at how ridiculous this claim is, but I actually did a video about it on my channel, whereas it's called "How the Media Lies to You and Shapes Society," and basically. You could actually determine who is actually silent, and how you can determine is by who is controlling the institution. So, like, if 94% of the journalists have one political ideology, then they want to report on everything that would contradict their political ideology, and as a consequence, you see that per capita, for example, black victims are over 200 times are more talked about than white victims of police brutality, over 200 times per capita, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I mean, that's one example. The other crap is that apparently queer people are silent. In conservative towns. Well, I mean, in like somewhere deep down in Utah, perhaps. But if you're talking about anywhere in the places of institutions, people could actually tell you how they're being amplified and how like everyone is now talking about them. Like even Bill Maher is criticizing like how far it has gone in this social engineering. And the fact of the matter is, you like. These people, they never shut up, and you just only hear their perspectives. You hear only their perspectives, but you'd never hear Russell T. Moore would like never even have a TED talk, for example, or I don't know, Michael Levine. So you have this certain reality where even people like ContraPoints are deluded into the thinking that there's some sort of a resistance, unless this is done like in an exaggerated manner. So unless it's a satire, but it's not exactly a satire compared to her other characters. When does it get to the base stuff? It's now like it's now getting to it. So the longer you progress into the video, the more base stuff you're going to get. Basically, much like my videos, I talk about the important stuff like right at the end of it, and not a lot of people are watching it. And I feel like ContraPoints is doing the same thing too. So you have to watch it until the end, and base stuff are there.
You're right to say it. Okay, but if I'm not being silenced, then why can't I say the N-word?
Oh,
Why do you want
Jesus.
to say the N-word? So I only have freedom of speech when it conforms
Yeah, so
to or liberal.
so that's like I think she's appealing to young teenagers who only care about who think that freedom of speech is about saying the N word, which I mean, if we weren't if we were honest, it is, but like it's not so simple actually. But you know, she had purposefully chosen a very dull character to play as a libertarian. So apparently libertarians are dumb. Well, in fact, they have the highest IQ among every single political ideology. So they have higher IQ than leftists, than Marxists, than like liberals, than conservatives. Libertarians are the ones who have the highest IQ, and yet she portrays them like as total retards. But I mean, perhaps that's like an allegory to America. They're thinking that America is some sort of a Ayn Randian caricature. That's what they're. Yeah, I mean, you have guns and liquor everywhere.
Ideology? God damn it, Jackson. That sounds a little bit like being silenced. She's stonewalling me. All over America today, white parents are having to sit their children down and explain that there's certain words they just can't say because of the color of their skin. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. would be turning in his grave. Would he? I mean, he's definitely turning in his grave, but not for the reasons you think. Jackie, can I bring this back on topic and share the good news of the gospel? That's not the topic. I have prayed on this, and honestly, the Holy Spirit has filled me with so much compassion for young people struggling with same-sex temptation. You know, when I look out at all these angry people at the Pride Parade, doing all this sexual acting out and wearing provocative clothing in a desperate bid for attention, I see the broken childhoods, and I see the craving for acceptance and belonging, and I feel for them. I really do. Wow, you're such a good person for taking pity on the poor, sad homos. You know, what you people really love is the aesthetic of being compassionate. But all you're really doing is calling into question the worthiness of other people's lives. Yeah, Virginia, why can't you just live and let live, you know? Whatever happened to love your neighbor? Jackie, anyone who knows me will tell you that I'm the most compassionate person that they know. But love your neighbor doesn't mean anything goes. And it certainly doesn't mean that we all just bow down to the intimidation tactics of the secular ruling elite.
The secular ruling elite, like Jesus. What I dislike about this video is that, like, I wanted it to become like a battle of ideas between the left wing and the right wing. Instead of the right wing, you've got like a fundamentalist Christian from the 1980s who we later learn out is a closeted lesbian. So, like, you know, even here she had to like fuck up.
About this narrative we're all being force-fed that God and Scripture have no place in American life anymore, that we're all supposed to submit to the takeover of these Marxist plutocrats imposing their queer ideology, which says that if your child comes home from school and announces she's a different gender this week, then you have no choice but to surrender her to the surgeon's knife, slicing up tiny little children's bodies. That's where this is headed. The shrine of Moloch. Oh my god, no one is slicing up children's bodies. What are you talking about, you absolute lunatic? Well, speaking of the transgenders, in the interest of full disclosure, I feel I should let our listeners know that one of our guests this week used to be a man. Isn't that right, Justine Tableau? Or should I say, Justin? Oh, come on! Really? Alright, we're doing this. Smoking a cigarette in the studio? Is this a throwback to the 1970s? No.
Yeah, like this video is unironically a throwback to the 1970s. Actually, like, I'm glad she realizes it.
Throw forward to the 20 I don't give a fuck. Well, don't mind if I do. Nothing wrong with the proud history of good American tobacco. Good Virginia tobacco. Jackie. The Freedom Podcast LLC does not endorse the sale or use of cigarettes, gay prides. I'm really not comfortable with this. I was not warned that there would be a transgender here today, and I really have nothing to say to this eunuch servant of Jezebel. Well, I wasn't planning to spend my day seated across from a goddamn exorcist.
Yeah, I mean, I guess another misreading. Like, it's transgenders who act like that. People who aren't transgenders, they're not walking around saying that they must be like reminded that they're going to sit next to a transgender, and like whenever they discover apparently they're having a heart attack. It's the exact opposite way when like a transgender sits next to someone who is transcritical.
But here we are. Virginia, if you're not prepared to get splashed...
I mean, it was the case even in the early 2000s with respect to the general LGBTQ community in 1980s, 1990s even, but that's clearly outdated. Nobody is acting like that. The only person who has ever acted like that was Candace Owens. I mean, it was cringe, and practically she got denounced for it.
Then you can get out of the free speech zone, because you're about to get wet. Excuse me? I agreed to this podcast because I thought you were a conservative. I'm a libertarian. Anything goes, baby, USA. Jackie, the problem with libertarians is that a society with no values cannot function.
Based.
To warn you that if you change the definition of marriage, it would be a free-for-all. And now, here we are.
Yeah.
96.5 genders are being taught in American classrooms. It seems we've forgotten that God created Adam and Eve, not Adam and Eve and Kai and Jaden and Caden and Lilith and Ashton and Skylar and Rainbow. Homosexuality is a gateway drug to transgenderism.
Actually, anime and being a fascist, but yeah.
There, it's just one step away to pedophilia and bestiality. And that's the real agenda here. These people want to lower the age of consent and legalize sodomy with all the beasts that walk the earth, and the birds of the sea, and all the fishes of the sky. Well, Virginia, if you're so worried about it, why don't you take your Mickey Mouse sexual neurosis back to the nunnery in old Missouri? Do they not have demons to slay in the back country? I rejoice in persecution and revilement for the sake of righteousness, for the Lord commands me not to hate my brother, Justin. Wow, super controversial, super provocative, super brave and super bold. We're living in Orwell's nightmare, but you're a freedom fighter and you refuse to be silenced. Amazing. Look, I just think it's great that three people with differing opinions can all sit down in a room and have a respectful conversation. Well, cheers to us.
Anyways, I'll have to look at the comments. Where have we left? Can we compare small towns to big cities? Yeah, I guess. Like, there are lots of shitlibs who are from small towns, and now they're shitlibs because they've been living with evil conservatives. Source on Libertarian IQ. Oh, well, there've been quite a few studies on that. I guess the biggest one with the sample is from Jonathan Haidt's book. If I write... Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a troll. This is what the far left actually believes the right is. They still think we live in the Bush administration. They still think we live under Reagan's administration. But yeah, they also think like that the left is anti-war. They have really deluded themselves very much, and I'm very surprised like how they cannot see how much they have lied to themselves. And by the way, Jonathan Haidt and his partner, they've read an entire book and they've made a study from it about how the left isn't able to perceive what the right is actually thinking about, like in terms of morality. The thing that, you know, when the right wing is asked, oh, can you like tell me what the left's morality is, and they're like, oh, well, they believe in equality, that they believe in fairness, etc., 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 like wealth redistribution and whatnot. And when the leftists are asked what like the right believes in, oh, they're white supremacists, they worship Hitler, etc., etc., etc. I mean, that was an actual study. You can look it up. It's quite amazing, and I mean, that's why you see their retarded censorship the way it is. Because like whenever Jared Taylor says something that I mean like every liberal would practically agree with, they're thinking like, oh no, it's like next Hitler must shut it down. Secular ruling elite, I mean that's not wrong. Well yeah, it's not wrong. She blah blah blah. Now anime making you is only found in this. I mean I don't know. I don't watch anime in fascism. Well, this that's from Maxim Gorky, by the way. Let's continue.
I don't think it's that great. And I don't think there's anything respectful about the two of you sitting here interrogating the morality of queer people, something you know absolutely nothing about. Oh, I know more than you might think.
Yeah, and here's the coming out. I used to be homosexual. There you go.
You what? No, I'm not doing this today. I'm sorry, you used to be a homosexual?
Yeah, I mean, it's like literally the 1980s, the 1990s. Like, they're really not creative. The right has evolved so much over the 1980s.
5 things you love about men. This should be good. Gather round, everyone. Let's all witness the power of Christ. I'm sure this will be very convincing. I love the Lord, who does not command me to be straight. He commands me.
And there you go. And there you go. Here's the actual fun begins. Like, here's the bass part. You're asking about the bass part. Well, here it begins.
Holy, fear not. You will no longer live in shame, for your Creator will be your husband. Okay. Well, if you want to be the bride of Christ, then by all means, but, keep it in the bedroom. I'm tired of you people shoving your lifestyle in everyone's face. Virginia,
yeah, you have this joke.
I thought people are just born that way. Like, Jesus can't change that. Jackie, the mainstream media establishment doesn't want you to know that people like me exist, because that goes against their narrative. But recovered homosexuals should be allowed to tell our stories. The ploy of the enemy is to make us feel that we cannot change. But what if every addict said, well, I'm just a junkie, that's who I am, I sexually identify as an alcoholic, so Jesus can't change me? Well, that's a good point. No, it isn't. Gay is just a feeling. Homosexual lust, same-sex temptation, that's a feeling, not an identity. Like, maybe you struggle with wrath, but you don't identify as wrathful. Maybe sometimes you want to punch a guy in the face, I want to punch you in the face, and yet you haven't punched me. Lo and behold, you have a desire without acting on the desire. When I was saved, I left behind the false identity I used to walk in, and I was delivered by Christ's transformative love. My old self has been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who lives, but Christ lives in me. But before I made God Lord of my desires, I was controlled by sin, by drugs, by alcohol, by homosexuality. So you used to be cool, and now you're boring. Wow, behold the power of Christ. You think it's cool to be contaminated in fornication? Yes, I do. It's pretty cool. I'm sure we're all a little contaminated in fornication. Is this a joke to you? Do you find this humorous?
Basically, let me mansplain a bit. So here's the actual battle of ideology begins. Justin right here represents hedonism, and on the right you have this like immaterial spirituality and a rejection of the identity that is homosexuality. So I think that she's not saying that she doesn't have like same-sex attraction to other women. She is saying that basically she has left behind this identity in favor of like a spiritual idealistic vision that she lacks, because she's a nihilist, and here's where the fun begins. So that's the Chekhov's gun, basically, that will be fired in its like entirety, and her ideology would be totally destroyed and be shown as pathetic, while the ideology of this Christian woman would be would go right to the heavens.
Yeah, I don't, because I have glimpsed the gates of hell, where unrepentant souls endure the horrors of sin, away from God, shut out from grace, tormented by unyielding guilt and shame. Yes, we've all been to Cincinnati. Can we wrap this back around to the drug topic? Virginia, you're saying you used to be an addict? That's right, Jackie. What were you addicted to? Miracle Whip? Veggie Tales? Communion wafers, maybe? No. I was addicted to alcohol, to pornography, to lusting after women, and to hype. Hype?
It looks like we've got this Sergei Eisenstein's cinematography reference, but I might be wrong.
Virginia Lamb, were a hype addict. Look, Virginia, can you drop a quick story time on this? Because I am intrigued. Jackie, I would love to testify.
I'm such a boomer, I don't even know what hype is.
Growing up, I never really felt connected to my mother. Girl, not this. When I left home, I was lost. I was a wretch. I was on fire, and I rebuked that fire. I used foul language. I went out clubbing. I cut my hair off. I gained weight. I was tempted by same-sex attraction. And I struggled with gender confusion, you know? I was always a little more masculine. I'd even started down the path toward transgendered.
Average fascist testimony.
To shoot up testosterone. That's why my voice is a little lower. Yeah, the two of you sound kind of the same, honestly. If I didn't know, I don't think I could tell which one of you is the man. Neither of us is the man, Jacqueline. Though, if anything, this one's the man. He's the one injecting testosterone.
The joke is that everyone's a man.
God has healed the feminine within me. All along, God was tugging at my heart. But for me, the road to heaven led through hell. I felt a terrible void inside. I lived in the flesh. I lived in sin with another woman, hoping to satisfy that hunger. Here we go. When I gazed upon her beauty, I thought sunlight had broken through the clouds. But the light I saw was nothing but the fire of my own wickedness. I knew that lifestyle was wrong, but I couldn't quit. Until she broke my heart. And then I was cast into the outer darkness. Yeah, she probably got tired of your Jesus bullshit. It was like a part of me was ripped away, and I was left to face my brokenness alone. What was she, a Capricorn? No, a Sagittarius. Well, there's your problem.
I think that's another sarcastic shot at the left, that they believe in astrology.
Next time, maybe try a water sign. Shh, stop interrupting. I'm living for the drama. Jackie, I was alone. I was suicidal. I was an addict. I was lost. Until one day, I decided to go to church with my mom. And I was surrounded by these women singing. What can wash away my sin? What can make me whole again? Nothing but the blood of Jesus that washes white as snow.
Yeah, that's a very base scene. I've actually used it for my thumbnail.
And I felt this tingling all over my body, and I knew I was hearing the voice of God for the very first time. Not just the words of the hymn, but the voice of the Father speaking directly to me. Yes, we all like music, and suddenly my pain made sense. I don't have to live this way anymore. In that moment, I was transfigured by the Holy Spirit. I was cleansed, I was healed, I was delivered, I was sanctified, I was redeemed. My guilty stains were washed away, and I exchanged my brokenness and pain for His loving grace. Okay, so I'm confused. Do you eat dick now? What's your deal? Jackie, my deal is that I entered the throne room with a repentant heart and rebuked the enemy that keeps me from the Father. When I found Jesus, I found someone who truly loves me, and through obedience to Him, my identity is no longer in my attractions, but in Christ. You know what I think, Virginia? I think that you are immoderate in love and immoderate with substances, and so you need an imaginary father figure to make all the rules because you can't control yourself. But your weakness doesn't mean that everyone else should have to live in a state of enforced mental infancy. Mental infancy? Bondage to...
You've got this libertarian argument as well, but the funniest thing is that it could quite easily be backfired on the leftists themselves, and I actually use this argument quite often too. And I think it's generally a good argument to make.
To the flesh is mental infancy. I know, Justin, the chains of sin. I know the murmuring complaints of the flesh, the itch, the ache, the shame. I lived in mud. I lived in filth. I know the thorns.
You've got this like Lars von Trier / Robert Eggers, editing style, which I really appreciate, and I think that we should, like, by we I mean the right, and perhaps there should be more movies that engage in this form of artwork, because I feel like we're underestimating the power that aesthetics and beauty have on changing attitudes. And I think that like this woman, and I've read a couple of comments of leftoids coping about it here. This woman clearly is the winner of the debate, and like it's quite obvious, and a lot of the audience has left with an impression that her argument is ultimately not her argument, but her vision is better than the vision of the nihilist.
Of pain. But my shame was hammered to the cross, for those who belong to Christ have crucified the flesh with its passions and desires. Virginia, who are you trying to impress with this ostentatious sexual anorexia? Who is the beneficiary of your erotic constipation? God? I really don't think he cares, Gorge. Celibacy is not a good deed. To me, this all just sounds like a lot of words to say that you're gay and you hate yourself. I don't think I could have put it less succinctly myself. Is it hate to worship the glory of God over the glory of self? Where's my nail? Is it hate to be anchored to the Savior's will that leads me from temptation? Damn it. To walk with purpose, abiding in the identity of who God made me? Goddamn. Is it hate to heal the brokenness and be made whole through radical obedience to the Holy Spirit? Have you been made whole, Virginia? Because to me, it sounds like you amputate half of your own soul and you call it sin and shame. Well, that's my definition of sexual brokenness. Why am I being lectured about amputation by a castrato? She's hilarious. She's a wit. We are all half angel and half beast. The flesh must die, so the spirit may live. The soul, by definition, is not the flesh. Have you really wandered so far astray? Have you feasted with such profligacy on apples of Sodom that you think the urge to fornicate is half the soul? No, Virginia, that's not what I think. What I think is that you have a vulgar, cracker barrel understanding of human sexuality, and you're on a save the children type moral crusade because you lack the adult capacity to face the demons in your own head. You talk about the flesh and same-sex temptation. Well, what even is that, Virginia? I want specifics. What is this terrible thing you're so afraid you're gonna do if Jesus stops holding your hand for 10 minutes? What? You think you're gonna rail a line of hype off a stripper's tits? Excuse me? Answer this. What do you think erotic love is a desire for? Wait, I know this one. Sex. No. That's too easy. Erotic love is not aimless pleasure seeking. It's a longing for connection, for recognition, for wholeness. To traverse the lonely void that separates us from each other. To liberate repressed energy, to feel alive. Love is not the flesh. It's not temptation. It's nothing like the urge to punch someone in the face. It's nothing like being an alcoholic. It's not a craving. It's a yearning. The desire for reunion with our other half, Aristophanes. But you people don't understand that, because you...
Oh, you've got this polyophobic assumption that apparently having sex is just with one person. I think ContraPoints should be cancelled for it because she believes that only a love could exist between two people. So I feel that's a little bit problematic, and ContraPoints is not really with the zeitgeist of time. Of our age.
Are vulgarians. You have no sense of humanity, and you have no sense of the erotic. Well, that sounds like a bunch of liberal, Marxist bullcrap. Jackie?
Yeah. I mean, a libertarian would probably never say that, especially that that's what their ideology is advocating for, more personal freedom. Even conservative libertarians with like exception of maybe Murray Rothbard and Hans Hermann Hoppe.
The brain is so small. It's just so tiny. Look at me. You're a dum-dum, okay? And I'm gonna need you to stop talking. As usual, the cancel culture woke Stapo is trying
I mean, that's not cancel culture. I think ContraPoints should know it herself better.
Jackie, I really am trying to silence you this time, because you're so stupid, and I can't stand it anymore. So shut up. I'm giving you the plague, liberal. Okay, well, I hope it kills me, because I'm done. See, I'll never get sick, because every day, I drink a pint of antifungal hedgehog medication. Doctor! Well, you people never are you? You want to talk about yearning? I mean, I get it. I used to live in shame. I know the insatiable longing to be with another woman. Yes, we've all noticed. Let me tell you, it is not freedom, it is bondage. You do not possess the flesh, just...
That's actually a good argument that I feel people need to consider. Our desires are basically our bondage, is the argument. And people are saying that, oh, you're slave to your emotions, so that's in the same line. And what Nexual says that we must overcome that in favor of the spirit.
In tableau, the flesh possesses you. Rebuke it and be free, or perish as a slave. For the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal life in Christ Jesus our Lord.
Yeah.
You people do love to rebuke things, don't you? Justin, the love you yearn for can only be found in Jesus. Only He can fill the void. I know. I used to be like you, Justin. I was lost. I was blind. I was confused in my identity. I used to reject the gospel until my sin took everything from me and I needed a savior. And then I called out to God for salvation, and He came to me as a loving Father. It's not too late for you, Justin. You are so loved. God loves you, but this is not God's intent for you. It is...
Anyways, it's time to read the comments. There are probably a lot of them by now. Where did we left off? Okay, I don't know. I'll just read from here. Contra spends a lot of time, but do you believe that her experience made her do this video? Yeah, it's clearly autobiographical, and it is clearly a lot of people who are trans. They're struggling with identity issues, and like both I guess the protagonist, quote unquote, and the antagonist, they're both struggled with it, and that there are like two ways of resolving it. One is like, becoming essentially trans, and the other one is embracing religion. So something like that. And as we will learn later, we're learning right now, the better option is the turning to religion. But of course, the problem with ContraPoints is that she's not really empirical. But there is a lot of empirical evidence to suggest that it's actually the better option, especially the desisting rate of I think of transgenders is like 90%. So that means that the so quote unquote trans children, right? So when they're 7 years old, they're saying they're trans. By the time they're 20, 90% of them would say, no, I'm a normal person. I'm not a trans person anymore. So I wish you could use it, but that's another problem, that she doesn't know the data, unfortunately. ContraPoints videos feel like puppet shows. Do normies take this dude seriously? Well, look, ContraPoints is she's intelligent enough. I wouldn't say this is exactly puppet shows. More or less, it's like almost like a dialectical Socratic dialogue. Especially this series. So I disagree. ContraPoints is very intelligent. Nick Fuentes and Contra Convo when? Well, I hope. Since Nick Fuentes has been now clearly identified as a person who is into femboys and by consuming a certain genre of porn, I think that's going to be very soon. So there'll be a Nick Fuentes ContraPoints arc, and they'll have this Socratic dialogue, and by the way, that's Nick Fuentes right here. So that's Nick Fuentes if he was trans, and the person on the left is ContraPoints. So the whole video from ContraPoints is the conversation she had in her head and what she said. Yeah, that's what it is. Doing whatever you want is kind of childish, to be honest with yeah, only because she mostly in the fence. Virginia doesn't win. She wins, dude. Like, I don't know what you, if you have been watching the debate. She clearly wins, and I'll explain that too. The argument's not over. Only Virginia. Yeah, it's just the beginning. Damn, where are we now? I know kings in general, blah, blah, blah. Okay. This is. Okay, good for you. ContraPoints has schizophrenia confirmed. Well, I think she has a bipolar disorder, especially because she takes a lot of drugs, and I mean, she earns $100,000 per month. Like, she is certainly on drugs, and she's certainly not emotionally stable. Though she tries to now advocate for that Jordan Petersonian talking point. Which is saying that we must embrace meaning. I'm surprised that by the way, that's the thing she liked about Jordan Peterson, is that he was all about meaning, her original video. I'm surprised that Contra is actually decently representing a Christian perspective, even if the character is pretty stupid. ContraPoints is, she's like Dostoevsky, the person she's arguing against, she doesn't strawman them unless it's like a white nationalist, but everything else, that wasn't a bad strawman, actually. It's a decent representation, but I mean, it's a decent representation of the Christian from the 1980s. It's not a decent representation of current Christians, well, maybe except some groypers. A counter-argument from leftists is that sexual drug addiction is different. I don't believe it. No. Well, first of all, there was study. There was a study of, I believe, over 200,000 people, and they found that LGBTQ identity is highly correlated genetically with drug consumption. The Christian woman is in fact right. So you should do a video on the Russian filmmaker Sergei Eisenstein. Yeah, perhaps. I did. I wrote an essay about him. He's a very great filmmaker. I mean, unfortunately, even although he was a communist, he had found a way to represent the dialectic in the film. How is turning to religion a better option? Well, if you look, by the way, I'm speaking as an atheist. It's a better option because it has been significantly shown to have better health outcomes than, for example, if you're an atheist. Atheism is a predictor of bad mental health, and a ton of other things like nihilism. And nihilism, it basically destroys your mental health, and by turning to religion, what it actually means is turning to meaning. You know what you're living for, and of course, if you're going to religion, you always, of course, you find a community, and that's why it's a better option. In almost all cases. I mean, I guess I'm an atheist. For me, I find meaning in other things, but. It's definitely the best option for most people. My main gripe that ContraPoints videos, especially the older ones, is that they suffer from nostalgia critic syndrome. Yeah, I agree. Do Tarkovsky as well. Yeah, he's a bit boring. But I also like him. Anti-essentialism is gross. Russian 50s movements are good. I wouldn't say so. Turning to religion is more adaptive. Yeah, that's right. There is an interesting paper by Edward Dutton. I believe it's called Atheism as a spiteful mutation or something like that. But there's actually a good empirical evidence and evolutionary logic in which religion, the position of religion would be affirmed. But being an atheist doesn't always mean you're a nihilist, and being religious doesn't always give you a community. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Anyways, let's go back to the video.
That you think you know God's intent. The height of cosmological narcissism. I'm sorry, has Reddit gone offline? Have we run out of fedoras in America? I'm just trying to understand why you hate God. I'm just trying to understand why you hate love. God is love. Is he? The only love worth having. What you call love, the sin I used to live in, the world, the flesh, and the devil, that only ever brought me pain. Yes, because heartbreak is painful. Love is painful. The poets are unanimous. Love is bittersweet, says Sappho. Eros, giver of pain. What's Sappho?
Now, I mean, to her credit, Justine, like the person on the left, she doesn't make bad arguments, actually, especially now.
Pornographer, the sort of filth these people want to teach to children. Well, if the Aeolian lyric poets can't tell us what love is, then god damn it, I don't know who can. Well, God for one. God has a sexual plan for all of us.
A sexual plan.
God's plan is for male and female to be one flesh. Men's and women's bodies.
By the way, if you want to learn about God's sexual plan for all of us, I recommend reading, I believe, Unwin's Sex and Culture. I think that's what it's called. I couldn't quite finish it, but it's really interesting about how you should control sexual behavior in an effort to make yourself more evolutionary adaptive. So
fit together for the purpose of creating children. You do realize you don't need a man to have a baby, right? Seminal fluids are not difficult to come by, even in this economy.
Yeah, like 2% of people would just like go to sperm banks.
You have a guy, a semen guy. That's just
and like she's also saying that we're not naturally attracted to the opposite sex, and like apparently we don't need each other, which is like another dumb argument.
Guys, look.
I mean, unless someone is gay or lesbian, but we're talking about the vast majority of people.
I do need to brush up on my apologetics, but since I'm among heathens, clearly, I will do my best to argue not from faith, but from reason. I love reason. Tell me this, Justin. Which is better? A love that is eternal? Or a love that can be ripped away at any moment?
The issue is that, like, a lot of Christians don't understand is that even their love for Christ isn't eternal either. And, but I mean, that's going to be a whole nother critique of Christianity. I'm not sure if I'll even go into it.
I'm sorry your girlfriend left you. That must have been really hard. Just answer the question. Nothing is eternal, Virginia.
I didn't know she would say this, but yeah, we reason quite similarly. Like the thing about Christianity is that oftentimes new converts, they'll be very emotionally overwhelmed, and then they'll have this hunger for meaning if their hunger wasn't properly satisfied. And like what often happens is that like people who are strongly selected for a strong religious experience is that they'll have this emotional roller coaster. Well, they'll like convert to they'll be like a born again Christian, then they'll like become a Catholic, then they'll go like to Orthodoxy, then they'll become Muslim. I mean, it's a real thing actually. And I've even spoken with people like that, and like nothing is eternal, and I think we should strongly consider it.
Except maybe sanctimonious assholes. Isn't a love that is eternal superior to a love that is fleeting? Yes, Socrates, it is certain. And don't you yearn? Not just for a love.
Yeah, I mean, the irony is that, and like, I haven't watched this, by the way. I didn't get the chance to skim through it. It's probably her worst argument. You could argue is that, practically speaking, even she will likely get tired of this LARP, and I think that's a sad part. Unless she's very, she'll be forcing herself.
In the moment, but for a love that lasts eternity? Yes, Socrates, that is evident. And isn't eternal love what we call God? Yes, Virginia, we all want to be loved, but sometimes we don't get what we want. So you have no argument. Do I really need an argument? This is just a semantic trick. You're saying that God is eternal love, and then magically that must exist because you defined it that way? So you don't have an argument? I'm sorry. Interesting. I didn't prepare to have a debate about Neoplatonism with a 5-alarm lesbo cosplaying as a trad wife. I'm supposed to take this seriously? Why am I even here? What am I doing? Why am I talking to these people? I think you're here because God led you here, Justin.
Yeah, that's also a lot of religious people. Like when I would talk to religious people, they'll usually say that to me, and It's for some people, like it works very convincingly. Doesn't really work for me that quite well, but I actually use this same line of argumentation on like secular matters, not on secular matters, but like in secular discussions. I'm not saying like God necessarily leads you here, but I'm saying like, oh, it's your intellectual development has led you to have this discussion for me, from which you maybe could learn something. It works just the same, and they feel like they're special. So that's
I don't
interesting.
think God leads people to podcasts. Clearly, this.
I mean, that's a very strong emotional argument, like very strong, and people immediately they sort of intuitively get a lot of meaning from it, even though logically it doesn't make sense, and they also feel special.
Transgender identity of yours is a defense against the emptiness you feel inside.
Yeah, and there you go.
There's a hunger in your soul.
Exactly.
No pleasure of the flesh can satisfy.
Exactly.
Do you not feel the thirst in your body, like a parched land? Well, yeah, I feel the thirst. I'm sure we all feel the thirst. If I may quote.
Yeah, and if you look at her behavior, you could see that now she's it's the beginning when she's now being cornered effectively. So now she's getting cornered already.
You, God, are my God. Earnestly I seek you. I thirst for you.
Yeah, she can't respond.
In a dry and parched land where there is no water. Because your love is better than life, my lips will glorify you. I will praise you as long as I live, and in your name I will raise up my hands. I will be fully satisfied as in the richest of foods. With singing lips, my mouth will praise you. Virginia, go to therapy, says the delusional man who thinks he's a woman. You're the one who needs to go to therapy. No, you go to therapy. I'll pray for you. I'll pray for you. I will pray straight to Satan. Look, can't we just agree that we are all a little Looney Tunes?
Yes.
You have your Jesus bullshit. You have your gender nonsense. And I'm sure I must have something. The free market. We all have our little delusions. The important thing is that we cling to them. And we never let go, no matter how much evidence gets in the way.
Yeah, I mean, it's more or less, as I was saying, it's not exactly like a satire on libertarianism. It's also a satire on American, like the average American.
Because that's what makes us free.
Yeah.
And freedom is what makes
That's like an idealistic depiction of America, if you judge by her clothing and what's around her. So that's like what America, as imagined by ContraPoints, is in the popular imagination.
Other countries, they don't have choices. But in America, we have the freedom to choose whatever we want. So can we do drugs? No, that's illegal. I thought you said we could choose.
Yeah, dude, like, what libertarian is going to even, like, have you seen libertarians who are like, oh, you can't smoke drugs? Like, I'm pretty sure even Hans Hermann Hoppe, he was talking about, like, making independent communities. And of course, because there will be so much of those communities, some communities would of course would allow for it. So like it's such a straw man. But maybe she's like that's not exactly libertarianism. That's just an average America. So perhaps it makes sense, though that the opinions have shifted.
Yeah, but we have to make the right choices. And what if we want to make the wrong choices?
Yeah, dude, like, yeah.
The code of the law will crush you without mercy.
Oh Jesus, like, yeah. I mean, I'll pretend like she's trying to explain what libertarianism is, and even classical liberals and conservatives agree that you should make wrong choices too. Like, you're free to make wrong choices, and you're also free to learn from them. And like, yeah,
you will be locked in a tiny cage that is literally the opposite of freedom.
I mean, whatever. I'll try not to get triggered over it.
More prisons. Who decides what the right and wrong choices are? Well, Father decides. Father
decides.
Do you always do what Father says? Of course. We always do what Father says. Why? Because Father says so. Why can't you just admit that you hate God because you want to sleep with men? Oh, I don't want to sleep with men. Yes, you do. You're a man who struggles with gender confusion and same-sex temptation. No, I'm not. I'm a lesbian. Just like you, girl, my heart was also broken by a woman.
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting about these trans women is that most of them, they have like a strange fetish where they want to be quote unquote feminized, and they just want to feel like a woman, but they're also attracted to women. So yeah, I mean that's an argument that perhaps you should view transgenderism as a form of fetish.
I thought she was.
At least one part of it. What is it? There are two types of transgenderism coined by Ray Blanchard. I mean, I forgot the type exactly, but I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
Hot girl. She turned out to be a fuckboy.
Yeah, just like Nick Fuentes.
Are a straight man. I mean, at this point, I wish. But no, definitely a gay woman. We're all stuck with it. Hold on. So, you're attracted to women, but you became a woman. Does that mean you're attracted to yourself? No. In the mirror? No, because I'm not a fucking animal that can't tell the difference between my own reflection and a different person. Desire is always for something that you lack. You can't desire yourself because you're already one with yourself. Desire feeds on absence. It reaches out across a void. I don't know.
Well, first of all, we already see that ContraPoints is a little ahead of a little not ahead of time. What's the opposite of ahead of time? She's a little bit of a boomer, so she doesn't know that some people could be attracted to themselves, right? So, if there is like a leftoid watching me right now, that they might want to cancel her for it because she clearly ignores the lived experiences of people who are attracted to themselves, who just look at the mirror and jerk off to themselves. So. Yeah, their lived experiences they've been erased by ContraPoints right here.
I think if I was a lesbian, I'd fuck me. Okay.
Yeah, there
Thank
you
you
go.
for sharing. Aren't a lot of serial killers transgendered? Do you have bodies in your basement? You better watch out or you're gonna be next. Are those clothes even yours? Or are you wearing the clothes of your victims? Jackie, I will drizzle a red wine reduction over your liver, and I will feast upon it. Jackie, these transsexuals, they're the greediest of all perverts. It's not enough for you to possess a woman. You also have to appropriate female beauty for yourself. Who said anything about female beauty, Virginia? You're the one who keeps bringing that up. Nice. Got her. Shut up, dum-dum. I said it to hurt her, and not to entertain you. You stay out of this. Look, so you're a straight man. You could have had a wife. You could have raised a family. Your life could have meant something. But you threw it all away? You really think having babies is the only way to have a meaningful life? Do you have babies? Well, priests don't have babies, and maybe think of queer people as priests. Except, the people we have sex with are adults. Whoa! Okay.
Not exactly. If you look at the abuse rate of children and the sexual orientation of the sex of the abuser, and it turns out that a third of them are LGBTQ.
That's not Christian. That's kind of crossing a line, don't you think? Oh, has free speech gone too far? Now it's gone too far? Can we have a civil conversation, please? Is it impossible to have a civil conversation in America today? Well, that ship has sailed and sunk. Virginia, I believe you were about to exercise Christian humility by explaining why your barren life of self-flagellation is more meaningful than mine. I walk with the Spirit until the day I go to glory. That's my meaning. Your meaning is what? To fabricate an already fading illusion of feminine beauty until you rot away unresurrected in the earth? And for what? To mutilate God's image and to live a lie? Anything else would be a lie. If God exists, I'm sure his mind is bigger than yours, and with or without your approval and understanding, I will always be the way I am. Look, can't we reach a reasonable compromise? I think you should have the right to do whatever sick shit that you're into. Just leave children out of it. Like, whatever this is, keep this away from children. And that's why we should increase police funding to fight the war on drugs.
The war on drugs, we're living in the, 1960s now. Leftists are not really arguing with anything we're saying right now. They have to bring stuff from like, why didn't you like bring up the 19th century or other crap? Anyways, let's look at the questions. Where did we left off? Okay, looks like here. Yeah, religion can be really harmful to a lot of people. Sure, religion acts as a social lubricant. Talk about the Russian Empire. Well, I'm not sure if it would be quite appropriate on this video. With the Nick Fuentes thing, a lot of people laugh at him because it's femboy and trans woman porn, but these are the same people that will tell you trans women are women, men can be rep whatever they want. Well, most of the criticism towards Nick Fuentes came actually from the right, from the dissident right. So, some leftoids might, just find it hilarious, but that's about it. Like they did with Alex Jones. Is this a slip of the mask, or they don't know any better? Well, I'm not sure what you're talking about. They laugh because he's been as okay, well, that explains the left's logic. Nothing is eternal. Weird standard individualistic take. The genes are eternal if we spread them. No, they are. Well, I mean, they're going through a change. Like they're constantly going through a change, and even they are not eternal. And the carrier who has those genes, they could die, but probably genes are the only thing that is close to something being eternal, and I kind of agree with you. The only mark against Nick is that he watched porn, or there's a lot of criticism actually about him. Not sure if I'll get into it, but basically is that the guy thinks he's the reincarnation of Joseph Stalin, and that's one thing. I'm not sure if I'll go into more details. Transgenderism is post-biological ethics. What is post-biological ethics, by the way? Somebody loves you even if you don't know who they are. Shut up, I don't care and I don't like it. Speaking of religion and woke stuff, have you noticed that wokeism is taking over Christianity? Of course, yeah. Took over this thing. I mean, that's like every single institution that isn't clearly right wing will sooner or later become left wing, if that's what our social hegemonic attitudes are going to be. Basically, I'm making the standard transgender and transhumanism take, but the distinction between biological and post-biological ethics is I haven't read them. No concept. Okay, I don't think all lesbians. Okay. It's hard to explain. Okay. I have a friend who studies theology and history of ancient era. He has theory that trans people are inverted images of religion. That's probably false. Paraphilias are pretty rare, man. Just because she calls out its absurdity doesn't mean she's erasing paraphilia. Are you all leftist? That was clearly sarcasm. I don't know if leftists are watching me, but that's a hell of a weird comment. Most abuse is from someone the person knows, not some random gay person. Yeah, and they happen to be gay, by a factor of per capita. So they're like 5 times more likely to do that. TLDR leftism and Abrahamism generally adopts post-biological ethics and transhumanism. Okay, where would you say you land politically? I'm a person, I am on the right of the political spectrum. Economically, I somewhat lean on the left. I argue for more state intervention in order to harmonize society, but of course not to a point where capitalistic norms are somehow subverted or weakened. It has to be within capitalism, within proper competition, and within proper respect of property rights. Yeah, I meant Eternal. Okay. What is your favorite movie? Well, that's hell of a good question. Yeah, look, I've got a lot of movies that I like. Not sure. Well, that's my. Have you ever watched A Clock Orange? Yeah, I've watched like most of Stanley Kubrick's film, and he's a very great cinematographer. So my favorite movie. I have no idea. Well, I'll just say that the recent movie that I liked a lot was by I believe his name is Robert Eggers. It's called well, I watched all of his films, but this one in particular was called The Lighthouse. So that really I liked it a lot. Yeah, my left is what. Yeah, I'll just read these four and I'll just continue. Yeah, my left is watching out of curiosity. Sorry if I didn't catch your sarcasm about. I was okay. I don't know. Thoughts on sociology and Marxist film theory. Well, Marxist film theory isn't actually that bad. So like it's quite interesting, especially their. Well, I've learned only Marxist cinematographic techniques, so I've read even Lenin had written about it, and they've pioneered the cinema actually. And sociology. Well, I like sociology, though I wish it was sociobiology, as like it was envisioned by Auguste Comte, like that was part of natural science. Unfortunately, right now sociology is totally destroyed, and it's a joke. But yeah, I've read Carlyle. I haven't read George Fitz. I don't even know how to pronounce. I've read De Maestra. I didn't like him at all. I mean, I don't like him at all. The only people like yeah, anyways, I have to, let's resume. Yeah, so basically that's Justin or Justine, don't know how to pronounce it. One version is like the quote-unquote dead naming version. So now she's laying in the bathtub very much depressed and because of the conversation.
You really are.
Yeah,
I know my place,
and now she's thinking how she's really lost, and she's like talking to a person who's like a radical fundamentalist Christian. Yet this radical fundamentalist Christian is living a happy life, as opposed to her who is like a nihilist and just
fellowship in the church.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing is that this probably symbolizes repressed sexuality, but that's about it. Like, she's not shown how like she's struggling. She's shown as a person who's successful, as opposed to her.
Have you?
And you also, the way she talks, you could clearly see that she's mentally stable, as opposed to Justine.
Found fellowship in the LGBT2A $ community? Well, obviously not.
Obviously not, because like being a part of that community correlates pretty highly with like sorts of mental illnesses. So of course you're not going to be finding a community there.
There's a bunch of wounded people.
Exactly.
Case in point.
Like I mean, I like the self-reflection. I like people who have a very strong like self-analysis, self-reflection skills. It's it's a miracle to talk to them. Like sometimes ContraPoints would be totally blind and like have no idea what she's talking about, but sometimes she would get things like just right on point.
Though you are the worst I've ever seen.
Yeah, I like that about her a lot.
Alone, you're far from God's grace, and you have no catgirl GF.
Exactly.
Can you honestly say that you're happy?
I mean, even Nick Fuentes probably has a cat girl or cat boy GF, and she doesn't have it. Yet she's intellectual, like an actual intellectual that writes books.
That you're fulfilled?
Yeah. See, well, that's her now. Like, totally, the ideology is totally disregarded. like it's totally has been emotionally put down. That's she is saying that that's what trans ideology leads to and leftism leads to. This is like if you continue on this path, you'll end up like this, and you'll have no meaning. So there, yeah, and now it's Justin. He uses that's her brother, and see, like even her what's it called? Her relatives don't agree with her. Yeah, and then like a Faustian figure appears. There you go. Yeah. Yeah. It's a Chekhov's gun. You'll see it being fired soon.
Hello? Hello? Jesus!
Don't say that name in front of me.
How did you get in my house?
Oh, I get into a lot of people's houses.
Who are you? What are you?
Well, I used to be an angel.
And now?
Let's just say I'm in a different line of work.
A satanic visitation. At this time of year, at this time of night, in this part of the country, localized entirely within my bathroom?
Yes.
Is this gonna be a weird sex thing?
Do you want it to be?
No.
Yeah. So you already see like the interesting symbolism where like Virginia is visited by God and is in the communion by God, while the person that visits ContraPoints is literally Satan, a fallen angel. That of course like is would be hyper individualistic, anti-group selective, as opposed to God, who is communion oriented and probably highly positively ethnocentric as well.
Oh, look, I've had a terrible day. I'm really not in the mood for this.
Well, I can help you with that.
Yeah.
Can you?
Sure, I can help with anything. Depression, anxiety, insomnia, pain, boredom, failure, shame.
Exactly. By the way, she also released a video on shame, and I have witnessed right-wing tendencies even there. So her shame video, but yeah, she's it's you can clearly see how ContraPoints' thoughts have evolved first into like that I made a video about, like a critique of leftism, and now on a logical basis, and now this is a critique of leftism on an emotional basis, and a lot of people, they'll swallow it just like they've swallowed her previous video, and they have no idea what the hell they're swallowing, which is what's funny. They have no idea that these like right-wing thought that they'll be internalized in them, and as you can see, well, I mean, you can't see here, but I have a program that allows me to see the dislikes, and they're less than 1,000. So less than 1,000 dislikes and 63,000 likes, and they've basically swallowed it, and they have no idea what they have swallowed.
Shame. Is it the shame?
Well, yeah, there's the shame. There's always gonna be the shame. But it's a complex cocktail. There's the heartbreak, there's the loneliness.
Yeah, there you go. So that's what leftism and transgenderism in particular leads you to.
I'm a parched land loose. I've got the hunger, the emptiness inside.
Exactly. So you're going to be empty inside. You're going to be totally miserable. You're going to struggle with your emotions, and as we now learn, your addictions. You don't have any free will.
Inside. Well, baby girl, let me fill you up.
I thought you said this wasn't going to be a weird sex thing.
It's not a weird sex thing. Potions, Justine. Potions. I have potions that will fill the emptiness inside.
Potions?
Elixirs, serums, tonics, medicaments. Think of me as a salesman, an apothecary.
A dealer.
Are you trying to get demonetized?
Sorry. What potions do you have?
Well, This is one of my favorites. It's
Yeah.
called hype. This will make you come alive.
Yeah. So exact, and here's the the you know, I guess Chekhov's gun again. This Christian woman, she was addicted to hype, as we, if we remember. I mean, I remember that, and now she is at the state, at the spiritual and physiobiological primitive state that this Christian woman was before finding God. So she is incredibly lower. Like her lifestyle is so pathetic that like she's at the miserable level that this Christian woman was before finding God. That's what ContraPoints is saying, and a lot of people, they have no idea about it at all. They just I mean, I don't know if there's, well, usually most of the audience, like on every single channel, is stupid unless it's very niche. But like I've read quite a few of comments. Like I've read maybe 10 comments, and they couldn't grasp it. They don't see it, but it's very clear and it's very symbolic.
Say goodbye to shyness, self-doubt,
Yeah.
inhibition. You'll have energy, confidence, charisma. You'll finally get things done. You'll connect with people. You'll always know just what to say.
Take the blue pill, yeah.
Lucy, the time for that was about 12 hours ago. At this point, I just want the pain to stop.
Pain. Well,
Pain avoidance, and I think she's also critiquing the pain avoidance ideology.
there's something for that. It's called void.
Void.
One drop of this, and all the pain will melt.
Well,
away.
that's a new thing.
The aches of the body, the agitation of desire, the sting of heartbreak, boredom, grief, and shame. All of that will fade away under a warm blanket of serenity and love.
Yes, I know what void is, but that's a very hard potion. And it's a dark path that I don't want to go down.
Baby, it's my job to lead people down dark paths. You'd really rather sit there in your little tub of sadness, all alone. What, do you need a clear mind to process how bad you were on that podcast? Because it was embarrassing.
Yeah, it was embarrassing. Like she didn't. She clearly looked defeated, and of course that was purposeful. Like I don't know why people are saying that Virginia lost. She clearly came on top as a winner, and it was so obvious to everyone. So I guess the person who said that probably didn't watch it.
Humiliating, honestly. It was difficult to watch.
Shut up.
Is it some kind of masochism? Do you just want to feel all the pain, man? Because you're not impressing anyone. I mean, what is your plan for this evening? You're going to sit around stalking your ex on social media all night?
Yeah, like that's what she's
It's
doing.
pathetic. And it's so unnecessary. Because you're choosing to feel bad, when with one drop of void, you could be in bliss.
Pass.
The cool kids are doing it.
The cool kids are absolutely not doing it because it's not the 90s. Kids today are vaping Benadryl. Don't you keep up with this?
Kids today are watching anime and what's it called, syringing themselves with hormone blockers.
Okay, I mean, I respect your choice, but I'm not going anywhere. I will stay right here, and I will remind you every minute for hundreds of consecutive minutes that your pain is optional, and I have the antidote right here. But I guess you'd just rather feel pain, and shame, and humiliation, and heartbreak, and boredom, loneliness, despair, disappointment, failure, anguish, frustration.
Look, I'm a smart person, okay? And I'm not going to let you turn me into some kind of pathetic junkie.
Pathetic? Is it pathetic to feel good? Because when I look at you, I see someone who feels bad. And to me, that's pathetic.
Well,
So now you could see that she's confused. She's between a choice, of stoicism and hedonism. And hedonism she did display in the public debate. And as we will later see, the only road here is towards hedonism and towards more physiological degradation from drugs.
The thing about that... Okay, just give me the goddamn void.
Well, that didn't take a lot of convincing. I thought I was going to be here all night.
Well, my will is weak, okay? Can I have the potion, please?
Alright, well, let's be a little patient. You should really do this the right way, okay? It's called harm reduction. What you're going to do is put 1 drop, and only 1 drop, of pure void into water. This is important. Do not do too many drops.
What happens if I do too many drops?
Oh, you'll probably die.
I'll die?
I told you it was important.
Well, how many drops is too many drops?
Well, it's difficult to say exactly. It depends on a lot of factors.
Seriously?
But it's your first time, so just do 1.
So, do I just drink it,
Of
or...?
course you drink it. It's a purely fictional magical potion, utterly disconnected from any real-world social issues. What else would you do with it?
Okay. Anything.
Okay, well, give it a minute. In about 15 seconds, you are not going to know the meaning of the word pain. Are you ready for that?
Lucy, I have never been more ready for anything in my goddamn...
There she goes.
Thank God, thank God.
Well, don't thank God, thank me. I will not have a father taking credit for my work.
Yeah, so here's the Chekhov's gun firing. Leftoids again do what they know best, and I mean I actually applaud their behavior. I like when they're doing that. So yeah, they're like getting rid of their best essentially. So those who make good arguments and reverting back to the base, like they're destroying any superstructure which may come from the base, and they do not want any person with original thought. And I mean, in this case, it was about platforming some racist transphobe, and as we could clearly see, these they attract a lot of likes and retweets, which happen IRL. And of course, like, look at that face. I mean, I don't block people, but like, if I ever interact with that, like, I'm not even sure I'll respond to them, to be honest. And I respond to like a lot of people. Yeah.
Lucy! Luciferia! Mother.
Yeah, so that's Lucifer,
Doctor.
actually. Okay.
Doctor Mother. Mom.
Okay, I'll
But the boy
just...
told me, Doctor.
So what?
You don't understand, Doctor. I'm in love with this furry.
You really are far from God. You're further from God than I am.
Lucy, can I get a drop?
A drop? I thought you didn't want to go down dark paths.
Doctor, my pain is at a 10.
I thought I was going to get to tempt you all over again. I'm a little disappointed, honestly. I enjoy the thrill of the chase. But there's no chase with you. No chase at all. You're easy. An easy little void slut. A slut for the void.
Lucy, if I wanted a sermon, I'd have called the other guy. Please, just give me the void so I can fill the emptiness.
If it's the void you want, the void you shall have. But you don't call me Lucy anymore, understand? You call me Mommy now. Because I own you.
Yes, Mommy dearest.
Cringe. Look at her fingernails. They're black. Which symbolizes that, I mean, it doesn't look like she's been farming. So it looks like her hands, they were deep from some sort of a black substance. Which is likely a form of narcotics. Yeah, they're black, or maybe, like, I don't know what else it could be. Yeah, and I mean that by the way, like if I were to bet money, like I'm not that rich, but I have like maybe $10,000. I'm betting $10,000, almost all of my savings. That's the actual life ContraPoints is living. That's her autobiography. She's got a lot of money. She doesn't know what to do with life, and like clearly she looks very much nihilistic, and she's trying to find meaning, and hence why this is this video, which is basically a plea for help actually. And yeah, that's her, and she has chosen the wrong path. She has chosen the path of degeneracy and leftism as opposed to choosing the path of that Christian girl. Yeah, I mean that's literally ContraPoints. Like, I'm betting all the money. That's how her life is like. It's not good. It's like that. And although she has a lot of money, that I mean, I wish I would get like even 100 from from her money that she gets every single month. I'll probably be like at least 3 times more productive than her. What am I talking about? I'll be 10 times more productive than her with that money, but because she has an abundance of it, she doesn't value it, and she doesn't like she can't find even meaning in living with the luxurious life that she has been given, and that's why she's so nihilistic. Yeah. Oh, that's a famous painting of decadence. By the way, I've used this in my video critique of ContraPoints. By the way, this video that I've made is probably the best critique of ContraPoints and well, not kind of, well, an overview of ContraPoints and like BreadTube as a whole. Like literally, you definitely should check this out after you've watched this video. Well, my stream, that is. Yeah. Yeah, and she's getting overdosed, and yeah. Oh, and 3 drops, 4 drops, 5 drops, yeah. Oh, and as time progresses, her nails are getting more black and black. Do you see that? Like, Jesus. I haven't even noticed this. Yeah, her hands, they're getting more and more black. Look. So, like, she's literally dying. That's like the 41% suicide meme right here. That's what happens when you choose leftism. Like, unironically, ContraPoints is like dude, if it wasn't the aesthetics, if she wasn't a trans woman, if she didn't do this fucking sarcastic jokes that I mean I don't particularly enjoy, and if this was repeated by Jordan Peterson, like this literally could be said by Jordan Peterson, like all of this video. Like imagine if Jordan Peterson were to write plays. This is the play he would have written, like 1-to-1. There is no difference practically. The only difference is of form. There is no difference in content. Absolutely, and this is the message that he's pushing, and now this is the message that ContraPoints is pushing.
I need 5 drops to take the edge off, so I'm gonna do 5 drops.
Oh, wow. If it's just to take the edge off, that's a very convincing argument. By all means, continue.
Well, thank you for being supportive. Cheers.
Yeah. And of course she's miserable, look.
That was dumb. It was so dumb.
Yeah, It was.
Shit. I need to quit.
Well, there you go. An admission of defeat.
Oh, you're gonna quit, are you? Yes, Mother. I'm gonna quit. I just... Good luck. I'll quit after one more drop. Of course.
Of course. Yeah. Well. I mean, that's autobiographical, for sure.
Never again. I'm quitting. I quit.
I'm wondering if I could see what book she's reading.
It's just a simple matter of giving up the only thing that makes me feel like life is worth living.
Yeah. Oh, so
How hard
I've
is that?
read like sexualities, yeah. So like queer crap, of course. Yeah, and I mean, and that's how like if you choose to become a path of like transgender leftism, that's how you land. Most likely. That's why there is like the suicide rate is so high. That's right. Like the abuse rate is so high. I'm talking about like alcohol abuse and so forth. That's why many of them are atheists and nihilistic. And I've made a video about it. It's called The Homosexual Environment. Very well researched. A lot of people who are LGBTQ and even one researcher, like an actual academic, has said that my video is very well researched. So you should definitely check it out. Yeah. And that's what she's left with now.
Lucy, wake up. Lucy, I want to sleep. Wake up, Lucy. Lucy, wake up. Wake up!
That probably must symbolize something. Oh, Jesus. Okay, I haven't watched this. Oh, so like part 2, so there will be part 2 to this. So maybe in part 2 leftism somehow overcomes this, but we'll have to see for it. As far as part 1 goes, yeah, it's a total disaster for those who are nihilistic and for those who are like think that LGBTQ community is good. Anyways, let's read some of the comments here, and maybe we could read the comments over here, and perhaps I'll end the stream. Okay, where did we... Okay, that's where we have left off. I watch a lot of socialist streamers, and when they talk about internal issues in the USA, they sound hyper-nationalistic. They don't want slow change, but the absolute best now kind of supremacist. I mean, I don't know. Okay, Ubersoy, how do some leftists end up being both base and woke at the same time? Well, if you have some degree of self-awareness, you'll have how to say, you have no chance but to become based. So and in this way you become unironically based. But I think she doesn't only have self-awareness, she actually realizes how bad leftist ideology is and like what are the consequences of it. So that's that as well. And perhaps her earlier attacks on the right that are like a bit ridiculous. I have a theory that it might be so that leftoids would swallow the true pill, that like this part of the video that like basically on an emotional level just ends leftism right there. Maybe it has... Okay, it's not for me. Invest in a better audio quality. Well, yeah, dude, like the microphone, I couldn't quite configure it. I was using the OBS software. So if you know how, like, you could contact me on Telegram for it. And if you want to help me, they're used to swallowing what they know not. Drugs tempting the individual to addiction, yeah. Imagine thinking that this video is at all charitable to the right wing. Well, it's actually quite charitable. I mean, as opposed to like if you watch Vosh, if you watch Philosophy Tube, if you watch Hassan Piker, these people, they have no idea what the right is at all. They don't even like know their arguments properly. So she probably is the best leftoid, so to speak, out there. So she doesn't really strawman. The only people she strawmans is white nationalists. Just as the old culture made swallow the pink pill and influence them, will the new Contra make leftists, especially those influenced by Contra, will they swallow the red gut pill now? I'm not sure. The only pill they've swallowed is the black pill, and by the way, the void pill, and it was actually black. It made her hands black and whatnot. So they have swallowed the black pill, and the black pill for them is that the leftist ideology leads to fucking degeneracy, right? So of course, now they are in a choice. Either they continue swallowing leftism and thereby becoming more darker, or they'll swallow the gut pill, the red pill. So they'll have this choice laid between them. Man doesn't know how hormone blockers are prescribed. I guess it's about me. Yeah, I mean, I have no idea. Well, I mean, I've heard that a lot of people they get it like the prescription isn't like it's easy, but some people say that it's hard. Like, no idea. I wasn't interested in it personally, and I didn't research it quite well. Funny how Marxists say they are scientific and atheists, but end up abandoning science when it doesn't line up with its nonsense and worship Marx as their one true God. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure about that, but yeah, they don't like science whenever it. Well, they generally just despise empiricism. So this they like they despise it so much. They even say that it's like Anglo supremacistic. So yeah, they can't stand it, and they think that empiricism is bad. Like. Quantitative epistemological tool. So what exactly are supposed to take away from that is so based? Well, precisely what I was just ranting about for the past like 10 minutes. Drugs are bad. Okay, that PFP is literally from hell. Crop, I always mistype that they don't know that these drugs aren't magical and always mess up. Yeah. The real debate that we wanted to see was meth versus heroin. Well, I surely did want to Dobroye день. Well, that's not how you write Dobroye день, yeah, but okay. ContraPoints has embraced the slave morality of leftism. Well, yeah, that was in the previous video. That painting, it's from the Russian decadence movement. I'm guessing you're talking about the painting with the green cues, but this painting is actually from a Catalan painter of the late 1900s. Not sure if it's related to Russian decadence. I mean, they were using it, but it's not theirs, I think. Suicide cultist, yeah, okay. Do you believe void is weed or hair? Dude, like, I don't care at all. I think it's just it's symbolic. Like it's I think it's taking the black pill. It has nothing to do with like I don't think she like thought about, oh, what is it? Is it like meth? Is it heroin? No, I don't think she was thinking about it. Okay. Yeah. That's. I didn't know that she was doing a reference for a Requiem for a Dream, but yeah, that was a good movie. Indeed, it was a good movie. Ask God to leave you, and He does. That's what you get exactly. I'm ready to be disappointed. Okay. What would you say is a right-wing film if you subscribe to the idea that art is political? Well, obviously, a right-wing film would be, well, okay, let's look at what the right-wing ideology is. It's about affirming, one part of it is about affirming inherent inequalities. That's one. Two is group selective, so like patriotic, etc., etc., etc. And three, I think in our modern day and age, it's fighting against the system. So it wasn't the case like 50 years ago. 50 years ago, leftist ideology was fighting against the system, but now it's the opposite. So whatever is critiquing the system, even the free markets, like not from a leftist perspective, but whatever is critiquing the system, whatever reaffirms that like some people are better than others, and whatever reaffirms like a strong group cohesion and such like that. And oh, sorry, I completely forgot. Of course, meaning and high culture. Of course, that's very important as well. Okay, are you gonna make a video on this or just the stream? Yeah, I'll just the stream. So will we see ContraPoints detransition? Haha. No, I don't think so. I don't think she will detransition, but she will likely politically detransition, and she has likely already detransitioned. So we see a detransitioned ContraPoints. It's not the ContraPoints of the like when I started watching her. Anyways, that's enough. So I'll read the comments in the video, just like to see what leftoids are talking about it, and then if you have any questions, like you could type them here. I'll address them, and then I'll end the video. So I don't want it to make to be like too long. Okay, a bunch of wounded people wounding each other. That's in relation to the LGBTQ community. That's really spot on. Sometimes I really feel that it's the same on native Twitter. Okay, well, what's that? And other online indigenous communities. Oh, there you go. So now we have like another identity group. So yeah, a bunch of oppressed, traumatized people just fighting for scraps amongst ourselves instead of fighting against the forces that have crushed us. Oh yeah, Jesus. Well, I mean, I'm glad ContraPoints didn't like it. If she were to like it, then that wouldn't be a good sign. Yeah, like the community that has traumatized you is the people who are advocating for more gibs for your community, because if you receive more gibs, you are desensitized to actually not desensitized, but you forget how to fish yourself, right? So that's that. And also the race hustlers are the ones who are oppressing you. And by the way, like, Jesus, I've spoken with one Canadian, like, quote unquote indigenous woman. She was like 25% indigenous, quote unquote, well, American Indian, yeah, and the rest was white. And guess what? She hates white people and she identifies as indigenous. So these are the people who are oppressing you, like the people who have constructed this cultural hegemony. Okay, I know she's only comic relief, but Jackie as a character is so fascinating. Her childish view of freedom that somehow coexists with her desire for a political strongman to take control, her deepened curiosity and lack of stakes and values coupled with neurotic fear of anything foreign. So compelling. She may be satirized and comical, inspired by real-life figures, but man, I would love to witness deep dive. Yeah, that was a good character, a good satire on America, I think. If it was a satire on libertarianism, that's very bad, very poor. But if it's a satire in America, that's a good one. I'm here to remind you that your pain is optional. It's such a real fucking statement when you're dealing with addictions and recovery. I'm going through my own journey with this. You're a queen, and I watched every second of this video. Yes, but she forgot to tell you that although the pain might be optional, we have the desire. We have the desire. It's like you're in this situation as well, the desire towards narcotics, I presume. So you're essentially in this situation as this quote unquote ex-homosexual Christian woman. So you're here, and like the moral of the story is that that Christian woman has got everything working fine for her, but the person who has embraced their trans identity has actually fucked up. So. So that's that. June describes Virginia as boring, but her speeches are far from it. Exactly. I found the over-the-top religious ramblings so evocative and aesthetically powerful. Exactly. That's the point. And she liked it. I see, like, she liked it. And that was the point. I can see how someone could become completely convinced. Yes, the emotional narrative. It's like like a religious emotional upheaval. Like the people are off from it, and of course they're going to be converting to this Virginia's ideology. It really scratches that cosmic horror itch, that strange desire for things much larger in life. It's a bit like when you have toothache and for some strange reason press your tongue against it, making the pain worse. Okay, to turn your shame into something of epic proportions is oddly empowering, as is total voluntary submission to cosmic mechanisms. Even though she doesn't see it, I think her sense of shame is a lot like Virginia's, and her void a lot like spiritual rapture. Well, that I disagree with. Well, I mean, a spiritual rapture in a bad way. Okay, fine. Thanks for making it another wonderfully painful, soul-piercing piece, Natalie. I wish you all the best. Yeah, and it is what it is, and a lot of people, they'll walk out, and because like ContraPoints has this leftist transgender past, they wouldn't notice it, but a lot of people would walk out from watching this video with an internalized right-wing belief system. I'm processing a breakup at the moment, and still every Saturday I get rat-arsed blind drunk. Yeah, so this person is on the he is just like Justine, so don't drink on the other days, but I literally have no stop button, and your video helped me put into the words how I'm feeling, and I'm pretty hungover, to be honest, but thanks. You're amazing. Well, yeah, I mean, if you actually looked at the quote-unquote moral stories, that you should have chosen the path of Virginia. So it's not about your lived experiences, it's about learning a lesson. All jokes aside, I commented, yes, being a queer teacher in the Deep South, especially that I teach my seniors Sappho as part of my ancient lit unit. What's that? I don't know, whatever. I've had a few parents call me a groomer because small town America and evangelism decided that's what teachers are now. Well, if you're I suppose if you're manifesting your ideology and you're teaching kids, I figure that's why people would call you that. Your videos have always added a sense of belonging to me, and your old videos, it made me decide to choose to work instead of pursuing a PhD. So there you go. The first time why people cling to religion and traditional values so much, being part of a community, feeling accepted, having already made set of values given to some perfect irrefutable being, that must be so comforting, especially if you're in pain. It's like this by design. I think if you don't believe when you visit the church, the atmosphere building itself just makes you feel so small. It inspires a difference and need for belonging. Exactly. Anyways, okay, yeah, let's just read the final one. I just want to appreciate Natalie's attention to details. I love the nails she chooses in all her videos, but this video had so much storytelling just in the hands. Yeah, I mean, it's not just a video, it's like almost a small film. It's like an art. And without, like, you know, she's not even trying to argue something in her words. She's trying to show you something, show an argument. The more words she drank, the darker. Yeah, okay. Anyways, so let's. I'll just read the last questions that you have, and we could end this video. Where did we left off? Okay, we left off here and we didn't get much of comments, but yeah, I'll just read them, and if there will be any new ones, I'll read them as well, and then I will have to end the stream. And you can also say like how the stream was and what could I improve on. So anyways, let me go ahead. Will ContraPoints get banished to the right by woke leftists, like how most non-woke leftists are? Yeah, I'd hope so. Yeah, I would hope so. You'd want to have, I think, ContraPoints on your side, but like, yeah. I think certainly the high IQ leftists, they won't try to do it. Only the retard ones with a very little following would try to actually do something like that. But I mean, I would hope that she'll get banished from the left, and like the transition would be, you know, I'm hoping for what's it called, a ContraPoints Jared Taylor arc, or even maybe Greg Johnson. Like that would be funny, especially like she's giving a lot of quote unquote dog whistles with regards to white nationalism in this video. So I recommend you to watch. Do you think anything in the past 100 years will reverse the eugenics in the next, and if so, what? Well, the only thing that would do so is proper GWAS selection. That's number one, and second is an actual policy of negative and positive eugenics, like well, voluntary, and I think it would be like able to be reversed. The live stream was great. I think I speak for everyone when I say that I would appreciate another one in the future. Yeah, I'm certainly looking for another live stream. Also, what is the theme subject matter of your next video? It's going to be about freedom of speech on social platforms. It's a video I've been working for quite some time, and it's like it's great. It's great. It's probably one of my best videos that I'll ever make. Okay. Too bad lynching is out of fashion in the South. Otherwise, okay. Have you seen the TV show or read the book I, Claudius? If I not, highly recommend. Also, what dogs group selection or select? Okay. Well, I haven't read it. I've heard something like that, but I'm not quite familiar with what it is. So group selection is basically means that you're not going through an individual selection, right? So, for example, if you mate with people who are of a similar intelligence, let's say, then in that case you're going through an individual selection. Group selection is when you're selecting for traits as a group. So for example, one would be to entirely eliminate a certain group. I mean, that's the radical example. Another example would be living under pressures that are equal for the people who are a part of your group. So for example, Jews went under a group selection because of the anti-Semitic pressures and their I guess choice of profession and what they were reading. So that would be an example of group selection. And what's a group selective attitude? It basically means that you are you want your group to experience group selection as opposed to individual selection. So you're like more collectivistic, basically. So that's that. Have you seen the films of Akira? Yeah, I haven't. Sounds cool. Yeah, okay, so I guess there won't be any comments. Well, in that case, then I'll have to end this video, and hopefully in a couple of days I will release what I think about free speech. So and I guess you'll be able to watch this video in the recording. So yeah, thank you for the 25 people who are now watching me and who have been through the stream in its entirety. We started off with 14 people, I think 19 people, but here we are. Yeah. Anyway, okay. The last question. I remember Razorfist talking about how the right is bad at collectivism and how it gives the left an advantage. What do we do about it? Yeah. So I mean exactly. So we spread our ideology and. We critique the current hegemonic ideology, and we offer our ideology as a cure to the cancer that has been spreading by people like Justine, right? So we will cure them, and of course we need in order to cure, you have to make an argument that it's not an individual matter, it's a collectivistic matter, like we're all in it, and this requires a collective action. And of course a lot of people naturally they'll be more drawn to it, as opposed to if you're what's it called, atomized individual. Not many people like to be atomized individual. Maybe some people like Ayn Rand would like jerk off about it, and a few percent of people who share her ideology, but for like 95% of the people we need a community, so even more. Anyways, I'm ending the stream, and goodbye.